They've been waiting for this.
I would say that they are juiced up and ready to go.
They're ready to play. This is what you get here.
I can't wait till August.
Yep.
Can't wait till August.
All right, you've been on the job 5 weeks. What's it been like?
It's been amazing. I mean, it's absolutely been amazing to be able to see these fans, these players that come in, Kevin and Jarrell, Brendan, seen, Ben Jones, I've seen obviously Taylor, Marcus has been in there, and it's not, they don't have to be there. They're just in there getting treatment, or they're getting in there getting a workout in, and they come in, they sit down. Adori's been in, Logan's been in. It's been awesome. Jack Conklin, just to be able to sit down and talk to our players and get to know them, get to know about their families, get to know about their charities, about what they do. We're not talking football because right now that's not important.
Why is that important to you to get to know them individually and personally in that way?
Well, I think that I believe, and we believe as a coaching staff, that that's the only way that you can coach them, is by getting to know them. They have to know how much you care about them, and not that you're going to cut them any slack. You're going to be honest with them, but you're going to know how they work, how they tick, what makes them go, how I can push them.
I want to ask you, too, any surprises in the first 5 weeks as being a head coach? Anything shock you so far about taking the reins and being in the big chair?
No, I don't think anything surprised me. I think that I wish I had more time for football. There's a lot of things that go on during the day, especially I think in the first month, where you're like, I want to go kind of watch some offense with Matt and his staff. I want to go watch some defense with Dean and his staff. And it's been great, though. I've been all over the building. I'm trying to get every person in our building, through our trainers, our equipment staff, our strength staff, our security staff, the people that help us in the cafeteria and around the building.
You've done that. I think you know everybody's name in the building. It's impressive.
Our coaches will know everybody in that building that helps us win.
Awesome. When you played, you were all gas, no brake. As a coach, are you all gas, no brake?
When I got to about year 13, there wasn't much gas left in the tank. And Jen's back there, my wife, she'll tell you that it was coasting uphill when I was about 34 years old. And she's like, how much longer are you going to play? And I said, well, why? And she's like, well, you don't look like you're 25 anymore. And I'm like, well, neither do you, but I'm not telling you to retire. So we've always been really honest with each other. And I do appreciate her telling me that when I was, 34 years old and I was in Kansas City. I'd gotten shipped out of New England. And my job at that point in time was to lead. And I think I tried to play. I tried to play as hard as I could, but I tried to lead. And I went through these different stages of my career as a player that was drafted, that had high expectations, that was a productive player in college. Very different than some of these guys that are from smaller schools. Everybody has a different path to the NFL. And then I went and I became a special teams player. And I had to accept that role, and I had to fight every single day to keep my job and be on the team. And then I went to New England. And I became a starter. And then I became a player that made quite a bit of money and had to produce to keep that. And then I was the player that got traded to a team where I had to become the veteran leader and kind of accept that role. So there was kind of a different phase along 14 years that I think that I have a chance to tell every one of our players where they're at in their career and how I can relate to them.
You were, and the word you used is thorough, putting your coaching staff together. What qualities did you look for in bringing this group of men together?
Passion and energy. Obviously, I think that equals production, but I think that passion, energy, and some production. John and I believe that we have to develop our players, that we have to be able to take a player that is maybe good and make them very good. We have to make a very good player elite, and I think that we're going to try to do that. And those coaches know that our coaches know that they're there to be great teachers, great developers, and great motivators, and that's why they're there. Tighten up.
This crowd was very excited when they saw Matt LaFleur's picture, your new offensive coordinator. and he's a young man who is a bright young coach. In terms of coaching, he did not have a direct tie to you, and yet you saw him and said, hey, this is a guy that can make a difference for us. It's kind of an interesting way to get to him, and why did you feel so strongly about Matt?
Well, I think one thing when you coach defense or you're a defensive coach, you watch a lot of other offenses and you're like, man, that would be hard. Like what they do is hard to go against, and they give you some good looks and difficult looks. And so then you watch it, because you watch in 12 to 14 games, however many games they've played, that's how many games you watch on the opponent. And I'm like, it's easy to evaluate. They score 30 points a game. This guy's a quarterback coach. He's offensive coordinator. And I just felt like what they were doing, his attitude, where he was in his career, the people that he had been around, Kyle Shanahan, obviously, with Sean McVay, and it was time for him to call plays. I think he was ready to do that.
And obviously, Marcus Mariota is very excited about that development. He's excited to play for Matt LaFleur. What's fair to expect from Marcus Mariota on this football team and in this offense?
I think what's fair to expect from Marcus is the same thing that we're going to expect from every player. That when I sat with Amy and her family and John, it was my job and our coach's job to make sure that every player knows what to do and they play fast and aggressive. If we get that done, I can almost assure you that the results will take care of themselves. That they have to know what to do, and that will be the coach's job, and then the player has to be able to play fast and aggressive.
We just visited with Coach Pease. Why was it so important for you to lure him out of retirement to be your defensive coordinator?
Because I was able to experience what Dean gave me as a player, and I felt like I was always prepared every week to go into that game. Now, we may not have always won, or I may not have played my best game, and I may have made mistakes, but I felt like I was prepared each and every week. The time that he put in for me and for the rest of the linebackers as a linebacker coach, and then how thorough he was as a defensive coordinator. We were fundamentally sound, we were technically sound, and we were aggressive. It was a great experience. And so when I got this opportunity, you kind of go through this coaching career and you're like, man, if I ever get a chance, like, this is a guy I'm going to hire. And I knew that right away after I got done playing. I was like, well, Dean Pease back here, and I don't know if I can ever get him, but I'll do everything I can and see if we can get him out of retirement to come coach for the Tennessee Titans.
Worked. You said something that has fascinated a lot of people in your opening press conference. Your defensive philosophy is coverage consistency, front multiplicity. Can you sort of explain that? And
no, you should ask Dean. He's the defensive coordinator.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't do that anymore. What that is we're going to try to be multiple up front, make sure that our players are playing different coverages on the back end, and just trying to give the players a little bit, maybe a few more things to do, move them around, move some pieces around so that the front may change and you're trying to still stay consistent with the coverages that you play behind it.
Can I ask you about some specific players? I asked you about Marcus already.
Absolutely.
All right.
I will tell you this. If you want to be a good coach, anybody that wants to be a really good coach out there, get players like Kevin Byard and Taylor Lewan. That's the secret to coaching, is good players. Like that's the secret. You sit and you talk to these guys for about 3 minutes and you realize why they're great pros. They're going to be great husbands, great fathers, and they're going to be great, players and people for our community.
Jarrell Casey.
Great athlete, disruptive, instinctive, got a great motor. Just watching some games on Friday. Gets knocked down, they try to cut him, he jumps back up, hits a guy, his helmet comes off. He's that type of player. I'm excited to work with him.
Adoree Jackson.
Explosive, fast, plays the ball great down the field. Great returner, explosive player.
Wesley Woodyard.
Tough, savvy, veteran, physical, leader, selfless.
Delaney Walker.
Talented, explosive, productive, reliable, dependable.
Jack Conklin.
Reliable, dependable, knows what to do, does his job like most offensive linemen, most good offensive linemen. My son's an offensive lineman. I used to hate him. I played defense, so I hated offensive linemen my entire career until my son became one. And then I'm like, well, I probably ought to take a liking to offensive linemen. And so now, obviously being the head coach, what our guys do up front will go a long way in basically showing our toughness on the field. How do we handle the line of scrimmage?
We laid out at the start how we knew you, which was as a player, your NFL career, back to your high school career, your college career. What we knew is you were a winner. You were a smart player. You made things happen. It seems as if this Titans team you have inherited has several guys that fit into the mold of type of player that Mike Vrabel likes.
That Mike Vrabel loves and that all our coaches love. I mean, those are the types of players that's why you're successful. I learned a long time ago that players are more important than plays and that teammates are more important than players. Our guys will be great players, but they'll be better teammates. They will care about their teammates. They will do things that are best for the team.
You made it clear that one specific job for this football team is managing expectations. Would you mind explaining what a little deeper with that?
Well, I just think that there's going to be expectations on us starting the offseason, that they're going to be on John and I and who we sign in free agency, what we do in the draft, what we do in OTAs, and I think that there's just got to be a process. I think that we just can't jump over and say that on April 9th we're at the AFC Championship game, because that's not how it goes. There's a process. You have to go back. You have to start over. It's phase one. It's football school. You're going to be meeting. You're going to be lifting. Then we're going to be on the field for 45 minutes with you, and that's phase two, and there's phase three. So I just want to make sure that we're, as a team, able to manage those expectations of the success that the Titans were able to have last year, that now we just don't start over at that. We have to build back up to that.
If we get into October, November, December, and this Titans team is looking like Mike Vrabel wants it to look, what does that look like as a football team? What will these fans notice characteristic-wise about your Titans team?
Well, I think it's going to look hopefully a lot like what it's looked. It's looked tough and it's looked physical. I would like it to be complementary. I like the offense to be able to take advantage of turnovers. I'd like defense to be able to play great in the red zone. I think we have to get better each and every week, but it's going to be smart. It's going to be prepared, disciplined, all those things. We're going to say tighten up, right? We're going to embrace that, obviously, what that is. And we're going to define that for our players. We're going to define that for our players so that when we say it, that we believe that if you want to say tighten up, that you're going to be competitive, you're going to be tough, you're going to be conditioned, and you're going to be disciplined. Like, we're just not going to break down like tighten up and jump off sides a bunch. Like, we have to believe that if this is what we're going to be and this is who we are, that's how we're going to have to practice. And if we're going to say tighten up, well, then you better be a competitive SOB, and you better be tough, and you better be disciplined, and you better be competitive.
As everybody in this room knows, tonight is the real introduction of Mike Vrabel because it's in front of you, the Titans season ticket members. And rather than Mike give something away on behalf of the Titans season ticket members and the entire Titans organization, Eddie George would like to make a special presentation.
What happened when